Section 4. The Finite and the Infinite. This discussion of time and existence, or reality, brings us to the topics of the finite and the infinite, which encompass the fields of space and time. Is human life finite or eternal? Does the universe have an end, or does it extend infinitely? These are questions you may have asked yourself at least once in your life. But before we come to any conclusions, I would like to share with you a story about a turtle. Once upon a time, there was a huge turtle who lived on a tiny island. Being a turtle, he moved slowly. It took the turtle 10 minutes to move each of his legs. One day, this turtle wondered if there was an end to the beach he saw in front of him, so he set out to find out. Summoning all his strength and determination, he began to march along the shoreline. But no matter how far he walked, the beach still extended endlessly ahead. Undeterred, he kept going. Eventually, the exhausted turtle died, but he died proudly, believing he must have explored at least half the world. The following day, a fisherman found the turtle, carried it to his house on the other side of the island, and cooked it for dinner. It took him less than 10 minutes to make the trip. The poor turtle had been walking around and around the sandy beach of this tiny island, never noticing because the waves of the Pacific Ocean had been washing away his footprints. When I think about the topic of the finite and the infinite, I always remember the story. What was the difference between the turtle and the fisherman? There were many differences: how quickly they could walk, the size of their bodies, and the extent of their experiences, for example. But the fundamental difference lay in the levels of their awareness. The turtle's ambitious goal and the effort and determination with which he pursued it were praiseworthy. But this story is colored by pathos. It points out the undeniable difference between one being who can perceive the truth and another who cannot. Now, try replacing the turtle with a person who believes in materialism, and the fisherman with a practitioner of the truths. Some materialists may be offended, but I dare say that the comparison holds. People who adhere to materialism believe that life lasts only 60 or 70 years, and then ends completely in death. They believe only what they can see with their eyes and stoutly deny anything that they can't detect with their five senses. They are like the turtle that set out to explore the world and never noticed that he was merely walking in circles on a tiny island. Unaware that a greater world exists beyond what they can see, both the turtle and the staunch materialist sweat and toil, but fail to live life to the fullest. This is why the story is so sad. The truth is that long ago, we were given eternal life. Since then, we have reincarnated into this world over and over to fulfill the spiritual training of the soul. The spaces in which our souls live are not limited to this world in the third dimension. Earth's spiritual field is far larger than that. It extends to the 10th dimension. In spirit form, before and after our lives on Earth, we inhabit the spirit world, which begins in the 4th dimension. Where we reside in the system depends on our level of awareness, and wherever we live, we are always surrounded by like-minded companions. So if you are wondering whether the universe is finite or extends endlessly, you must ask yourself whether you are considering just the three-dimensional universe, or the multi-dimensional universe that extends beyond the third dimension. If we use the analogy of the human body to understand the greater cosmic universe, then our three-dimensional universe would be the unclothed body. The fourth dimensional universe is equivalent to adding undergarments, the fifth dimension a shirt, and the sixth dimension a sweater. The seventh dimension requires the addition of a suit for men and formal attire for women, and the eighth dimension adds an overcoat. The ninth dimension, finally, would be the hat, which is the highest dimension that Earth's reincarnating souls can live in. This, of course, is just an analogy, but it nicely represents the structure of the multidimensional universe. Just like the example of the human body, higher dimensions layer above lower ones. The dimensions are not completely separate from one another. The higher dimensions envelop the lower dimensions and contribute a higher consciousness and purpose.